Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and today a lot of people got really pissed off at the Sonic the Hedgehog not even a trailer, it's like a teaser poster that was unveiled on the Paramount Twitter and Instagram, and it's got a lot of people really unhappy with the way it looks. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big Sonic fan. I never have been. I appreciate the character. I've appreciated the games, but I'm not like diehard, like Sonic loving person. So for me, it doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I kind of think it looks okay, minus a couple things, which we'll talk about here. Let's take a look at the Instagram or at the Twitter, where it says, the guys that brought you Deadpool and the Fast and the Furious are bringing Sonic the Hedgehog to the big screen. Sonic movie speeds in the theaters November 2019. Check out the teaser poster. And people, like I said, they're not happy. But let's take a look at this thing so you can see for yourself. There you go. That's it. That's like, it's a 20-second little teaser poster, but the rings collecting sounded pretty cool, right? That sounded okay. I'm not against that at all. I think that's an all right. But again, the image in and of itself is the one that's having the most problems. People are not too happy with the design of Sonic himself. In fact, you take a look here over, I just got the image blown up a little bit. We can see that the fur looks kind of pseudo-realistic, right? And that's one of the things they're going for. Not only that, but it's also bringing up the fingers are looking a little too realistic for some people. But it's really like the thigh, like the runner's thigh is what's throwing people off. In fact, his left leg that is currently kneeling almost looks like a gigantic blue furry dick. And that's been called out too. So right now we don't know fully what Sonic looks like, just this. And again, this is something people are saying is almost like watching nightmares. You know what I mean? It's nightmares, the stuff nightmares are made out of ultimately. And so we've got that. We got people that are talking about that. So coming over here, though, to IGN actually had an exclusive interview where they actually break it down a bit. And they say the poster shows a couple of key updates to Sonic's. And we had the opportunity to speak with the creative team behind the movie to find out new details about the upcoming movie. Now, here's the thing with that, though. Like I said, the creative team behind it is who I'm interested in. The movie, the character looks kind of weird, but I'm interested in who is the creative team. Now, it says this telling of Sonic's story sees him as a bit of a fish or hedgehog out of water. Sonic, voiced by Ben Schwartz, who was great on Parks and Recreation as John Raphael, finds himself in our present day world where he develops a relationship with James Marsden's Tom Wachowski, who also finds himself at odds with Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik. As expected, mayhem assumes. Now, so this is like the Smurfs 1 and Smurfs 2 take on this thing, right? Where it's going to be Sonic is animated, the rest of the world is human world. Now, I will fully admit, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that, because I would have liked to have seen like what they're going to do with the Mario movie, like what they're going to do, with telling stories within that visual acuity, right? That's what I want. Now, it says here, the production team behind the movie opted to go for a more realistic take on Sonic, down to his updated new kicks, more than the cartoony version we've seen in the past. The filmmakers consider Ted to be an appropriate analog for the upcoming Sonic movie integration of a CG character into a real-world setting. So Sonic is just Ted, but for kids. Which is also now the title of the video, right? Except Sonic's not going to get high and, like, you know, bang brandy with celery or carrots or whatever it was he was nailing her with in the first movie on a break. I mean, they're trying to make this a kid's version of Ted. I just don't see that being much of a thing. Sega is not going to be very happy about this at all. They're not going to want adult humor. Even though Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, is producing this and he can do a lot of adult humor, I think they're going to tone it down. Now, it says the first thing you'll likely notice about the character is that his fur, a bit of a no-brainer considering what he is still markedly different from visual depictions of Sonic that we're used to. It says that was always stage one of adapting it to the real world and what a real animal would look like. Executive producer Tim Miller said of giving Sonic fur, it would be weird and it would feel like he would running around nude if he was some sort of otter-like thing. It was always for us, or for Fur, we never considered anything different as part of what integrates him into the real world and makes him a real creature. Now, here's the best example I could probably give as a result of that, and that would be the new Pokemon, Detective Pikachu, right? Like they put fur on Pikachu, they put the animals, they made them look as realistic as humanly possible, instilling context to the character. I don't know if that's happening here, but I would use it as the best visual representation that's current to give you an idea of that. Now, it says there's the shoes. It says we looked at every different variation of what makes the shoes he's worn, and we're trying to pay homage to that and also make it current and present day in what we think Sonic of today would wear. Well, are they Yeezys? Because if they're not Yeezys, then I don't think the kids are going to care. This is coming from Neil Moritz, a producer of the Fast and Furious franchise. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because you've got Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, who also owns the visual effects studio that's going to be handling the special effects here. And if you want to see how Tim Miller is in those regards, look at what he did to the first Deadpool on a $50 million budget. Not only that, but go and look up the trailers he cut together for, I think it was DC Universe or Injustice, one of the two. He put together, but he directed some of these visual trailers, and they looked amazing. So I think that with him being directly involved and him being on board, it's going to do a lot to really kind of help flesh out the film. And I think that's going to work out pretty well. Now, it says the most challenging part of Sonic's design was updating it, or wasn't revealed in the teaser, his eyes. The filmmakers struggled with how best to depict Sonic's eyes because of how often he's only seen with one and how that would translate to the live action movie. And that is very true. How is Sonic going to handle it with one eye? I don't know. Now, he says here, I don't think Sega was entirely happy with the eye decision, but these sort of things it's going to look weird if we don't do this, but everything is a discussion. That's kind of the goal, which is the only change was necessary and to stay true to the rest of it. He's not going to feel like a Pixar character would, because I don't think that's the right aesthetic to make it feel like part of our world. So it does feel like they are doing their best to try to like integrate the character into our world as best as humanly possible. But I don't know if that's going to work out very well. It's like someone said to me on Twitter today that we're about ready to hit Uncanny Valley with it, right? And I don't think they're entirely wrong. Like I said, that giant blue furry dick of a leg, it kind of makes it look like that, you know, like he's rocking a tripod here. So that could be the thing. Now, it says also, how is Sonic will represent the character's speed, one of his signature elements within the movie? Post-production began about a month ago, so the special effects are still being finalized, but the director, Jeff Fowler, the movie's resident Sonic superfan and internal defender of staying true to the character, knew from the start exactly how he wanted to represent Sonic's super fast abilities. In fact, that was part of his original pitch to the studios. Fowler, Moritz, and Miller all worked on a test video for what they envisioned Sonic would be to show their studio partners, and it revealed their early concepts for how the speed would work. Coincidentally, they had asked Schwartz to sub in as the voice in that test video, and he did such a great job that they ended up casting him in the role. Here's the remember when it comes to test footage and Tim Miller. Tim Miller shot and edited the test footage that we saw from 2014 with Deadpool that, when it got leaked, led into the Deadpool movie. So just keep that in mind before you ooze everything you got over this image right here. All right. In Tim Miller, I trust. Neil Moritz, the producer of the Fast and Furious franchise, has taken the franchise to a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So again, I have trust and faith in that to establish very much a solid type of production here. Now, the only, I guess you could call it like weak link, in my opinion, is Jeff Fowler here. Now, Jeff Fowler I'm nothing against the guy. I don't know who he is, but looking at his resume, he's only directed one thing here, really, and that was Go for Broke, which was a film from 2004. He also was the visual effects supervisor on Where the Wild Things Are. Now, that is interesting because the visual effects on Where the Wild Things Are was fantastic. Right? The Spike Jonze movie from 2014, or no, it's 2009. God, I'm way off on that one. Was really, really, really well done for the time. And so I think he's also a student, or a pupil, I should say, or you know, an apprentice, if you will, of Tim Miller. And that, combined with Tim Miller's ability to direct visual aesthetics, as well as to create worlds and to tell a story within that, I think is going to be something very, very, very good for the overall production. Now, I don't know at the end of the day if Sonic's going to be good or Sonic's going to be bad. All I know is that it's interesting. And that's got my attention. The fact that it's interesting and the team behind it is making it interesting. And also people getting really upset at it also makes it interesting. Not going to lie. Like, I can guarantee you my brother, who's a huge Sonic fan, is probably tearing his hair out over this teaser, which is just going to make me lord it over his head for the next year. But that being said, I still want to see a teaser or a full trailer or a full depiction of the character. I think once we see that, once we get a full look at that, things are going to be a lot different. And a lot of people are going to come to realize that this is something maybe not to be super freaking worried about. But I understand their trepidation right now. The legs, the thighs are huge. He looks like he's got, like he's got runner's legs. And that's a little bit odd. But compared to the stick legs he has in the cartoon and the game, it's that's going to be the weirdest part. I think the legs are going to be the weirdest damn part. You're going to see real muscle definition in that. Anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know down in the video description. If you made it this far, type in Sonic. That's right, I said Sonic. You know what I'm talking about, internet people. Be sure to thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to call into our voicemail line, you can do that at, for some reason the voice is not working. Oh well. It's 818-350-3281. That's 818-350-3281. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.